Yo, what is up, everybody? John from Tau Tactics here, bringing you another video. Today we're going to be talking through the new nerfs to the stealth suits and discussing what guiding options we have and what you should be taking as far as guiding packages are concerned based on the damage dealers that you're using in your list. So we're going to walk through what ideal guiding packages look like, what our new options are given the stealth suit changes, and how you should be thinking about guiding and building it into your list building in general. So before we hop into today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to our channel sponsor, as always, Secondhand Geek. Now, we are running a pretty awesome giveaway with Secondhand Geek this month that will be finishing at the end of the month. It is for the new Retaliation Cadre focused Battle Force box set, the one that has all the suits in it. So if that's something you're interested in hopping into, you can do two things to enter. One, if you're already signed up using my link down below for Secondhand Geek, put a listing on there, maybe something that you haven't been using very much or have been saving for a project, so maybe someone else could get some value out of it. Or you can use my link down below if you haven't signed up yet. Sign up using my referral link for Secondhand Geek. Check out some of the awesome stuff they got on the website. I've been building up my orc army so far, and I found some commandos on there that were actually $30 cheaper than eBay, so definitely worth checking out if you're hunting for something in particular. See if Secondhand Geek has some in stock, and if you can support them and myself that way. Awesome. So as far as today's video is concerned, I want to walk through the changes to the stealth suits. First of all, just my thoughts on those changes is I think it was a big missed opportunity from GW to give us a cool new unit with different and flavorful rules. Obviously, it was a nerf to Tau directly. I think most of us are either dropping a unit or changing units within our armies to compensate for the additional points cost for the stealth suits, and they also lost fallback and shoot, which made them a little bit less strong as a guiding unit. They did add a couple of models to the unit, which makes them a little bit stronger for staying around in the game, but I think everyone is looking for different options for guiding purposes on how to best build their list. So I want to think about it in terms of the specific damage dealers you'll be supporting in any given list. For myself, what I've enjoyed in Auxiliary Cadre specifically is running one unit of stealth suits plus Shadow Sun. Now, the reason I like running Shadow Sun is she pairs really well with Skyrays. Now, the reason she does that is because you don't miss out on the rerolls from the stealth suits because the Skyrays are already twin linked. So if you're planning on bringing a couple Skyrays in your list, I would heavily consider Shadow Sun to babysit those two, give them reroll once to hit. Be a guiding unit for those Sky Rays. That way you're not losing out on any efficiency on the real wound piece. Other considerations is all of these units right here gained a decent amount of stock by the stealth suit changes because they have access to the marker-like keyword. So the Fireside Marksman, the Ethereal, the Star Scythe unit, and the Pathfinder unit. Now, as far as my guiding package goes for right now within Auxiliary Cadre, right now I'm running one stealth suit unit, Shadow Sun, two Skyrays, and two units of Pathfinders. Now, I think this is essentially the bare minimum because a lot of times what the Pathfinders are going to be doing is guiding for themselves, not necessarily another unit. And I also bring an Ethereal in this list. So I have a total of 7 marker-like guides in my list. Now, there is one big caveat here. I've built the list so that I don't need to rely on the rerolls as much. That's because I'm not bringing as many of these units right here. These units are units that really don't have any built-in rerolls, save for hammerheads, iron hammerheads, and rail hammerheads. They do have one reroll to hit or to wound, but by and large, these units right here rely a ton on the rerolls that stealth suits give. So in my current Ox list, for example, I'm running one Riptide, 2 Ghost Heals, and a Broadside. In a pinch, I can give one of these units reroll once to wound when I really need it, but because I have the Shadow Sun rerolls to hit and one stealth suit guide, that means I can point at least one tougher unit, point the Skyrays, point the Broadsides, and the Riptide at them, and get those rerolls. But that being said, I think it's really important to take a look at your list construction, identify what kind of units you're using. Another unit that I think has gotten better with the changes to stealth suits just because of its own built-in rerolls is the Breacher team. So if you're running things like Breachers or Fire Knife unit that has full rerolls to hit, and a Sunforged unit that has full rerolls to wound, you're not losing as much efficiency by not having the stealth suit rerolls, because those units have rerolls on either the hit roll or the wound roll. Same thing with breachers. So in those lists where you're running a heavy amount of units that have those rerolls on either end, like the Sky Array, like the Fire Knife, like the breachers, like the Sunforged, you might need less of those stealth suit rerolls, and you might be able to run more of these types of units. So that's what I would be thinking about as far as list building is concerned. Now, just talking through some archetypes of lists that we're seeing today, whether or not I think those armies need 2 stealth suits. I think, for example, Kalyan, where you're running 3 Riptides, a Ghost Keel, probably a Hammerhead, you're probably going to want at least 2 stealth suit units. For Retaliation Cadre, where you're running 21 units, I think you have enough guides from a couple units of Pathfinders, from a couple units of Starsides to get away with running 1 stealth suit unit, for example. And then from Monka, for example, I think you can get away with only running 1 stealth suit unit, because in Monka you have access to the full hit reroll strat, which basically acts as a permanent guide on the unit for the rest of the game. Experimental Prototype Cadre, again, running a lot of those units like Broadsides, Riptides, and Ghost Keels that really require those rerolls to be present on the battlefield, so I would plan to just lose a unit in those lists and pick up 2 stealth suit units, for example. So shorter video today, but had a really great discussion within our Discord community around this topic, so wanted to discuss kind of how I'm thinking about it. It is something that you have to definitely think about within list building, the types of units that you're having, and basically the way I'm thinking about very simply is, do the units that I'm guiding for have built-in rerolls on the front or back end? If so, I'm less reliant on stealth suits and needing those stealth suits rerolls for my list building. If I'm running a lot of these units in particular, let's say 6 total or more, I think, is the breakpoint at which you're going to be wanting to run at least a couple stealth suit units to support the damage package specifically. If you're running less, and if you have access to rerolls, like Auxiliary Cadre, for example, where you can get reroll 1s to wound for a CP, I think you need it a little bit less. But very interested to see where people go with this stuff. I definitely would be curious to hear all your thoughts on the new changes to guiding, what you think of the stealth suit changes. Was it a big miss for GW, or did this open up some list building for Tau players? I think there is an interesting argument for potentially running no stealth suits at all and not taking that tax on, but I think it might make it difficult without the rerolls. You kind of lose some variance there with the lack of rerolls there. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks everybody for checking it out. Again, would love to hear your thoughts down below on what you think of the stealth suit changes, whether good or bad. I personally not super happy based on the fact that they could have made a really cool new kit out of the new kill team and left us with our normal stealth suits and our guiding there. Maybe they could have used a points increase, but I think the 30 points plus adding 2 guys, losing fallback and shoot, felt like a very direct nerf to the faction, which I was pretty upset about. But again, thanks to the channel's patrons for all the support. Really appreciate you guys, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.